Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope that you can stay through to the full amount of time. But what I really, I'm not sure if Frank gave an introduction to what we'll be doing today. And can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, great. And so I'm a balance and agility coach. And I came into this work approximately 15 years ago. I've been a fitness trainer for about 35 years. Got my first fitness certification when I was 18. Got a degree in biological sciences and worked in the pharmaceutical industry for many years, but always kept one foot in fitness. And then after my second daughter was born, when I came back to teaching fitness, there was a great demand for teaching people over the age of 65. And the biggest question that I got was, how do we improve our balance? And so after trying all the regular balance exercises that normally come to mind when you think of balance exercises, people were not getting the results that they wanted. And so I had to think about, what is it that actually prevents the fall? And we can all balance, even if you can balance on one foot and hold your stability that way for even a long period of time, what actually prevents a fall is being able to catch ourselves when we get knocked off balance. And we all get knocked off balance from time to time. So what I'd like to know, and so I began this quest for finding out what helps balance. And from that, I developed the Agility at Any Age program. So, and I'm also certified through the American Council on Fitness as an orthopedic fitness trainer and a functional fitness specialist. A few months ago, I'd say probably a year ago now, someone from the FSHD community took my class. And she was so pleased with the class that she made this connection. And so I'm very, very grateful to Nancy Volk for bringing me to this community. And I'm very grateful to June and to Frank. And I'm very happy to be here with you today. So please tell me, what are your questions about balance and agility? Please let me know in the chat. What is of most interest to you? Just tell me what's really interesting. What are your challenges? Where do you feel it the most in your stability? And I will tailor these minutes that we have together. I will tailor this to what you are most interested in hearing about, or what questions you have. And while you're typing into the chat, I know you've had a lot of people who talk about balance. You've had some phenomenal fitness trainers, and I got to look at the past videos, and people who have come to speak with you. You've had some really, really great information shared on your YouTube channel here. So I want to just reiterate what I've heard already, that core stability can be a challenge, that the sides of your calves, meaning the peroneals, that lateral stability can sometimes feel compromised or not as strong as you'd like it to be. Some people I know have paralysis through their diaphragm and core, and so it's tougher to engage. Uneven hips, okay, great. Jess, loss of trunk strength. Feel like you can't correct when knocked off balance because of the trunk strength, okay. Okay. Tell me, so I'm hearing a lot of trunk strength and core. Tell me about feet. What groups are most important? What muscle groups are most important for balance? Okay, great. Okay, thanks, Marlene. Thanks, Wayne. Okay, great. So one of the things that you can keep doing, and we talk about this a lot, is establishing that brain body connection. And so how do we do that? Um, Especially when you just feel like you're telling your muscles something and it's just not firing the way that you want it to fire. And so tripping danger from foot drop. Okay. Using a rollator helps my gait and foot balance. Okay. So is that so Helen, could you clarify that for me? Is the rollator that those things with the little wheels on it that you slide your foot across? Or are you talking something more like a foam roller?
I'm talking about a walker rollator and holding on to that.
Oh, the
And
rollator that's a walker. Okay. Okay,
yeah,
great.
and it I've noticed I just recently got one. I was trying one out and then I just got one. And I noticed I'm in a far better position for standing and walking, and my feet are um closer together, and yet I've got some protection from back falling. Whereas if I don't use it, my feet are splayed out just to keep my balance,
Just to keep the
and it's
balance.
and I my body's quite uneven.
I
So
see. Okay.
yeah, so using the rollator, I feel like I'm strengthening muscles that are, you know,
Mhm.
um, in a better way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Helen. Okay. So just to speak to that for a second, how is anyone else using a rollator or a similar walking device? Because this brings up a really important topic for balance, which is that when you can support yourself, then you can allow the feet to go back into a more neutral position. So what I work on in class is alignment. We work on alignment. We work on toe muscles. I always say the magic is in your toes. So even if you don't feel like you have the core strength or the core stability, there's a lot that you can do with your feet. Um, and doing exercises every day. And as other trainers have said who have been on the channel, it's not that we're not hoping to cure anything. We're not talking about any kind of magical thinking here, but just as long as you keep on establishing, letting the brain tell the muscles and nerves what to do, and to just keep on giving them the signal to fire, and being persistent, sometimes we can see improvements through that. So we're going to do some exercises that, okay, great, forward walker. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Renee. Okay, Wayne, walking stick, great. Keen. And Marlene, okay, Marlene, you said when walking, you're pulling your right shoulder way up. I see. Okay. Okay. So it's like the right shoulder wants to assist the rest of the body when walking. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's great. That's great information, everybody. So I'm going to try to touch on all of that. I am actually going to text my assistant because I forgot to bring the walker that I have upstairs here. So I'm going to see if someone can bring that to me right now. Um, Bear with me just a second, just so that I can do some demonstrations with the walker. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with some foot exercises. And actually, let's do just a little bit to engage the core first, since core seems to be the biggest topic right now. So let's do this. I'm gonna push my chair back just a little bit, and you can just make sure that you're on a sturdy chair. Okay, can everybody see me all right? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a deep breath in and press your lower back to the back of the chair. So push, exhale all the air out, and then inhale and relax. Who, just by show of hands, who's done this before? Anybody? Okay, inhale, take a nice deep breath, relax. Exhale, press your lower back to the chair. Now you might feel like your shoulders are curling forward. That's okay. That's okay. And then inhale and relax. Good. And exhale, press as hard as you can. Now press that lower back to the back of the chair. Are you feeling this? And inhale. Good. So what you want to think about is you think about as you press and you contract through the abs, the ribs are getting closer to the hips. Ribs getting closer to hips, and then inhale and relax. And now if you feel like you're winded, you need to take a break. Just breathe naturally. Take a couple breaths naturally in between. Take a deep breath and exhale. Good. Breathe it out. And then inhale. Now this is a great exercise to do if you've been walking for a while and your lower back starts to hurt. You can press your lower, find yourself a seat, press your lower back, or even if you can only, like say you're walking around New York City or someplace like that, even if you can only find a wall to go up against, kind of bend your knees and press your lower back against a supportive surface, and it will really help. It will relax your low back and it'll start to engage your core. And so tell me what that exercise felt like to you. I'm seeing a couple thumbs ups. All right, good. Okay, and so the next exercise that we're going to do, again, working on core and trunk, is we're going to take our arms. Now, how many of you, I don't know, just going with your own mobility here, raise your arms up over your head, and then bring your arms back down by your sides. And let me just see how we can do that. And you want to, yeah, scoot forward in your chair. That's right. Scoot forward a little bit on your chair for this one. Great. And then bring your arms up. Let's take a deep breath. And what this exercise looks like then is that you reach behind you and reach and grab the back of the chair, just like that. Grabbing the back of the chair. Great. And now we're going to inhale. And as you inhale, let your shoulders come down. And again, remember serratus anterior, that shoulder stabilizing muscle. We want to make sure that we're activating that, pulling down through serratus anterior and lift so that you're stretching, allowing for an opening to come here, the chest. And then as you exhale, round the back. So we're not really pressing our lower back to the chair anymore because we're away from it. But you're making the body go kind of in a concave kind of position. And exhale, blow the air out. And then inhale, look up, give that nice stretch to the chest. And then exhale, blow all the air out and tighten your stomach muscles as much as you can. Good. And then inhale, lift. And exhale, relax. And so, or exhale, contract through here. So you're inhaling and lifting up the chest, and then you're exhaling and rounding and tightening through the belly. Give me feedback on that exercise. Shoulders can't go high, just arms above shoulders, one down, okay. Raising arms is a big challenge. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to raise your arms at first. You can simply grab the back of the chair if you have the mobility to do that. Who could do that exercise there with me? Who's got that one? Very modified. Okay. So did you feel how your spine was moving back and forth with that? Did you feel how your spine was was curling forward and then straightening up? So you have this movement. So that's what we want. We want to get some movement in this part of the body. So reaching and then contracting. So it's like your body's going concave and convex. So that movement through your trunk will allow for those muscles to stay activated. Lots of times in fitness, we talk about, try not to compensate. That's actually one of the exercises that even if you're compensating with another muscle, that's okay, because the movement itself will allow for that mobility and activation through your core. Okay, so if you can stand up, we're going to go on with some of the exercises. Oh, you know what? We're going to stay seated. We're going to stay seated because we have to do ankle rotations. And we're going to do ankle rotations in a really interesting way. And then when we stand up, we'll do more core. So here we go. Okay, so you're going to pick up one foot and you're going to go around in a circle. Now, I don't know if everybody can see my foot. Okay, so you're going to take this. Now, this is a normal ankle rotation, right? Now, I'm lifting it up high. You don't have to. Even if you can only go right to here and just do an ankle rotation here, that's okay. Or if you need to do it with supported in some other way, that's all right. We're going to try to do an ankle rotation. And you're only doing it to, again, brain is telling the muscles and nerves what to do, and you're just seeing what your feedback is. Just seeing what your feedback is. For that. Now everyone's kind of knows what an ankle rotation is, right? Kind of boring. I always say a lot of these exercises are as boring as watching paint dry, but boy are they effective. So here you go. We're going to do it a little differently now. The same direction. Keep going in the same direction, but pause for a second up at the top. Pull your toe back towards you as much as you can. I know if you've got a foot drop, this is really, really hard or impossible. But I want you to move the ankle in slow motion as much as you possibly can, deliberately using every muscle in the ankle complex and move in slow motion and push that range of motion in whatever direction you can. In whatever direction you can. Meaning if you can't lift up, that's okay. Take it to whatever maximum you can, pushing it to the side, pushing down, pushing over to the other side, and back up. Even if it doesn't come up, let the brain tell the body to do it. And keep pushing through. Good. So slow motion and allowing that ankle to rotate. Really good. And now we're going to take that ankle rotation in the other direction. So here we go. Nice and loose at first. Nice and loose, normal ankle rotation. Great. And then we're going to take that up to the top, pull back as hard as you can, good. And then in that same direction you were just going, push that range of motion big. And again, we're talking to these muscles that are on the sides of the leg, right? Sides of the calf. But use every muscle in the entire ankle complex all the way around the whole circumference. Great. Now to that, and now flex and point. The flex and point. Flex. Very good. And one more for those perennials. Here we go. Side to side. Now so imagine, so just relax the foot for a second. And now sweep the arch of the foot right and left. Right and left as best you can. Really good. So if you looked at your foot, it's almost like you're pointing to 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Great. All right, let's put that down. And let's do it on the other side. Here we go. Ankle rotations, nice and loose at first. Keep that on the other side. And ready? Up to the top, flex it back as much as you can, and then push bigger and bigger into that range of motion. Feel it as far as you possibly can. See, when we go in slow motion, something amazing happens. When you work in slow motion, it gives the muscles and nerves time to talk to each other. So if you're especially pushing and trying to increase your range, slow motion is the way to do it. Great, bring that back up to the top, and then let's flex and point. Same thing. Point farther than you think you can. Pull back farther than you think you can. Take your time. Good, and rest. Let the foot rest for a second, and now get sides of the calves. We're gonna sweep the arch of the foot right and left. Sweeping the arch of the foot right and left. Very nice. Right, and we're gonna place that foot down. Next, you're gonna run your feet. So you're gonna run the feet, which means that you're going to go as fast as you can, running your feet. Get that alternating rhythm, right and left, right and left. Good. Breathe, make sure you're breathing while you do this, because you never wanna hold your breath when you're doing quick work. You always wanna keep the air flowing. Good, now, some of you might be able to lift your heels, but for now, we're gonna alternate heels down, whole foot to the floor, and then if you can, if it's possible for you, heels up. Run with heels up. And then whole foot to the floor. Now, if you've got to keep your whole foot on the floor running like this, that's fine. What we want is we want a quick, just as quick as you can. Good. All right, now fast as you can. Go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, good job. Now just bounce your heels. Just let those heels bounce. Good. Just kind of pick up the knees and put them back down. Okay. So yes, Helen, okay, great. Ankle exercises are easier to do without the shoes. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Are you out of breath from running your feet? How did that feel? So the reason why we do speed, there's in the program, there's 4 basic movements that we do that we've found are the most helpful, which is the weight shift exercise, being able to do a side step back and forth, being able to step up and over, and being able to move our feet quickly. So speed work is really, really important in agility. It's what keeps the muscles firing quickly. Okay. Any questions about that? Great. All right, and now we're going to stand up from the chair. And so whenever we stand up in class, there's a very specific way that we do it. And so this may be helpful. Does anybody have trouble getting in and out of the chair? They have to push on the sides of the chair to stand up? Yes, okay. I'm seeing a lot of head nods. Okay, okay, so here we go. Let's get myself back again. So when you get up out of the chair, we always put our feet to the floor, and you want to check something here. You want to make sure you have toe, ankle, knee, and hip alignment as best you can, as best as you can. In other words, you want to make it like if you drew a cross section right here, then my toe, my ankle, my knee, and my hip would all be in one line, one plane right here, and they'd be in all one plane on this side as well. So push your tailbone back and hinge forward. Your feet are there in front of you, and it's always nose over toes before you go. All right, say that with me. Nose over toes before you go. Back nice and straight. Hinge forward from the hips. Your nose is over your toes. Hands at the ready. Push through your heels and come on up. And then reach up if you can. If not, keep your arms right there. Let's practice that in the reverse. Slow motion in the reverse. You're going to push your tailbone back. Knees are going over toes. Knees are going over toes, nose is over toes. Barely touch the chair and come on back up. Good, and then back down. And up. Great, and if you like, you can practice it one more time. Down to barely touch the chair. And then come up. Now, when we practice this in class, whenever we practice this in class, we do is we go down and up, we bend our elbows too, and then we come up and bend your elbows, and then so that everything bends and everything straightens, and everything bends and everything straightens. Now, what I'm talking about here is making yourself a human spring, like a shock absorber. So, although this is how I teach agility class, you can just from the things that I'm demonstrating, you could probably start to gain some insights as to how this will help you on a day-to-day level. So that everything bending and everything straightening, you're becoming a spring, down and straight and bend. Everything bending, everything straightening. Because when you do that, you have a spring. This is what will keep you safe. Lots of times to compensate, we lock our knees out. And in locking our knees, what happens is, and does anybody know that they lock their knees? I'm not sure if anybody has that issue or not. Go ahead and leave a comment if you do. Or maybe one knee locks out and the other one has mobility. What happens is that our quadriceps go to sleep when our knees are locked. So we always want to keep a little bit of a bend. If you can, try to train the knees to have a little bit of a bend. And this is why the rollators and any kind of walker or assisted device can be so important, because it gives you that extra point of contact that might allow for you to unlock your knees and to start to develop some strength in your quads again, or to get them at least to fire a little bit in proper alignment. So let's do stand up. Okay, one, because the midsection will collapse. Okay, so Marlene, so tell me, so midsection collapses with standing up that way?
Yeah, if I want to, yes, well, if I want to stand up, I have to do an S, push my hips out and stand. And if I want to sit, like pushing my butt back is as far as I can go. And then I fold there.
And you fold there because the back, the trunk muscles in the back don't have the stability to do so.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. And so for next time, I can come up with modifications that may help you with that, and maybe a better way for sitting and standing. Keep on doing what works for you though. Absolutely. Okay. So Renee, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Okay, so locking the knees. So does it feel like you could stand with your knees unlocked?
No, and I've been hyperextending my knees for decades. And I know it's not the right thing to do, but that's how I'm able to propel myself to stand up and to reach out. So if I'm in a chair, I lean forward, throw myself up, and lock my knees so that I can stand and be supported.
Yes, I see. And okay, and so we'll find the modifications for that. If
That would be great.
okay, great. So we can see so even working with a walker, we can start to see and we can start to try to see what it would feel like to stand with our knees unlocked, and to allow for 'cause the other part about even having the knees unlocked, even if you can only do it for a little while a day while supported by something else, then you can create more space in the joint capsule. And so if those of you who lock your knees, do your knees hurt? Do you have pain or no pain? Yeah, midsections curl up when bending forward, standing. Okay. Yeah. Lots of pain in the knees. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So now that, everybody comes to standing, or as best you can to standing, and I'm going to show with the walker. Now, all I have right now is this older model right here. But if we So by holding on, or even having something like a wall behind us or a countertop in front of us, if you can lean with your hands and then just unlock the knees and this little bit of a bend and straighten motion. Bend and straighten. With no pressure, try to keep the pressure off of the knees. And again, if this means that we have to do this supported in a different way, then by all means, maybe we just have ability to hold on and need the strength in our legs. But if you can, that little bit of a bend and straighten, and again, practicing with the feet facing straight. I was hearing on the side that, like walking without the walker, the balance, the feet want to be splayed to hold the balance. If you can go into alignment and then straighten and bend, little tiny bends with the knees. How we doing? Seeing some comments popping up. Okay, all right, great. Okay, so here's another thing that we can do. And you can do this seated or you can do this standing. But stand with your feet parallel with it, and I want you to wiggle your toes inside of your shoes. Wiggle your toes inside of your shoes. Now, if you don't have your shoes on, that's great. That's great. If you have your shoes on, then I want you to really work your toes along the insides of your shoes. Really work those toes against the bottoms of the shoes, against the tops of the shoes. Okay? So toe wiggling. Keep them wiggling. Keep them wiggling. Keep them moving. Great. And now, in addition to wiggling your toes, I want you to swish your feet. So while you're wiggling your toes, swish your feet around inside of your shoes. Swish them around inside of your shoes. And I want you to think about, what does the insides of my shoes feel like? What do the insides of my shoes feel like? Feel the insides of your shoes. Good. And now I want you to feel the floor through your shoes. And you might be thinking, how can I feel the floor through my shoes? Well, there's a lot you can tell about the floor through your shoes. For instance, if it's bumpy or if it's smooth, right? Is it a hard floor or is it a cushy carpet? You can probably tell that information without even looking at it. You can probably tell through your shoes. Are you on a tilted floor or flat and level? So all of this information is continuously coming in through the bottoms of our feet. It's just that we don't think about it usually. So the more that you can, and as martial arts instructors say, they say, put the mind in the feet. Put your mind in your foot. Put your mind in your feet. And what that does is the more that you allow and be aware of your feet, the more sure-footed you can be. Okay. So the toe wiggling and the swishing. Toe wiggling and swishing. All right. Next, we have rocking. Rocking back and forth. So here we go. Up on the toes and then back on the heels. up on the toes, and back on the heels, okay? So even if you have the foot drop, tell the toes to lift up. Go ahead and tell the toes to lift up. What it will do is you'll start to have activation through your quads. If not through tibialis anterior, which is right here by your shin. This is the muscle that picks our toe up. And even if you don't have activation there, you may get activation through your quads. Rocking. We still rocking? Here you go. Up on your toes and back on your heels. Really good. Okay. Right. And then remember that little bend and straighten in alignment. See if your knees, when you give a little bend, are your knees collapsing inward or outward? See if you can coach your knees. See if you can coach your knees to go straight. Just go straight. Okay. Allowing yourself to have this extra point of contact is also really important for several reasons. Okay. So now, if you, for instance, if the ankle rotations don't work for you, you can always do this holding on and standing up by letting your toe touch the floor and going around like this, and then moving it in the other way. And then you can try that on the other side. So we're looking for ankle mobility and ankle strength. And then, for instance, if you couldn't do this exercise of back and forth, letting the arch of the foot sweep right and left, we could do that standing up by just allowing for, instead of rocking back and forth, rock your feet side to side while holding on. You can have your feet wide apart. You can have anywhere between hip to shoulder width apart. Great. So the next part of the, any questions on that? Comments, insights to share? So the next exercises that we're going to do involve a weight shift. So we're going to go on to the first of the exercises, which is stepping out to the side and back. Out to the side and back. Just like that. Okay, fantastic. So Helen, I'm hearing you say that sometimes you do these types of exercises while waiting for the microwave toaster, the kettle, doing things. So balance exercises and general agility exercises like this are fantastic to do around the house, while brushing your teeth, while making a sandwich at the countertop, just little things. Yeah, standing in line at the grocery store, holding onto the shopping cart. If you do your own shopping, I'm not sure. Delivery has made things so easy on us these days, which is wonderful. But if you ever have to run and get something, standing in line at the grocery store is great. We have there's a woman who takes the class who has Parkinson's, and while she's holding on to the shopping cart, she rocks back and forth while she's waiting in line. She does her rockers. And one time the line was really long and she was getting up to the front of the line and she decided to look back and see if the line had gotten any longer. And she turned around to look, and everybody in the line in back row was copying her, and they were rocking back and forth. They were rocking back and forth at their shopping carts too. So she started a movement. So, all right, so let's do a weight shift exercise. The weight shift exercise, we're marching in place. So if you can, do a march in place. If not, you can do the weight shift exercise with just holding on, okay? So stepping, and let's just take this to a march first. So if you're participating here, just take this to a march in place, and you can see that split second of a single leg balance that you're doing when you march in place. Never underestimate the power of simple exercises, okay? So now we're going to change the rhythm a little bit. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 and lift. Ready? 1, 2, 3, lift the knee. 1, 2, 3, lift the other knee. 1, 2, 3, lift. 1, 2, 3, lift. So you can see what's happening here. You're allowing for that pulling up to happen through the abdominals. I want you to pretend, again, brain-body connection, I want you to pretend that it's your stomach muscles that are lifting that knee up, okay? Even though we know it's the hip flexors, I want you to really feel like you're engaging upward through the abs. 1, 2, 3, and up. Good. 2, 3, and up. And now just step lift. If you can, holding a step lift, step, lift, step, lift. Good. And then if you can, place your hands out and then opposite hand touching opposite leg. Opposite hand touching opposite leg. Yep. Really good. So this is uniting both hemispheres of the brain. It's a contralateral movement. And whenever opposites touch, you're working to strengthen your trunk and core. So even if this has to be supported, you know what to do. Side, other side, other side. Okay? Wonderful. And then march it back in place once again. Okay. So let's do some alignment now. We wiggled our feet, we swished, we rocked back and forth. You kind of aligned your knees, and now bring your and now this was as Mitch described this. Those two buckets are pelvis being one bucket with the opening facing at the top, the ribs being the opening, another bucket with the opening at the bottom. You want to stack them on top of each other. So we're gonna see if you have any of these and see if you can get the hips to come forward. Use your micro movements to adjust yourself. Adjust pulling those hips forward. Now draw your chin in and bring your shoulders back and down if you can. Good. And just allow yourself a moment here to really work on any kind of alignment through the body. Allow yourself to breathe those nice deep breaths in and out. Good. Now we're going to bring the arms up only as far as you can, and I'm going to show you how to use your breathing to increase your range of motion. So here we go. So bring your arms up just as high as they'll go. Doesn't matter wherever your arms are. If your elbows have to be bent, wherever they are is absolutely fine. When you take a deep breath, inhale and feel yourself lifting up, and exhale and relax. Now, normally we don't lift our shoulders when we breathe, but this time, because it's a stretching exercise, we're gonna allow for it, okay? So here we go. Inhale and lift your arms as close to your ears as you can, and exhale and just relax for a second. Good. Inhale, lift up like you're lifting up and out of your low back. Good, and exhale and relax. Good. Inhale, lengthen your waist, and exhale and relax. Good, and then inhale again, big as you can, tall as you can, and then exhale and relax. Good, bring your arms slowly back down by your sides. Really good. Let's turn palms up. So the next part of the exercise is you're going to turn palms up. Right. All right, so go. Turn palms up. Point your thumbs back. Keep those two buckets facing each other. And here, this is for your shoulders. Pull down on that underarm muscle. That's serratus anterior, okay, on the scapula. And here we're going to stabilize the scapula. At the same time, you're allowing for that external rotation in your arms. Let's take 3 deep breaths, and this time we're going to expand the lungs out laterally. That's what we're going to try to do when we breathe here. So here we go. Inhale and reach out to the sides, and exhale and relax. Good. Inhale like you're lengthening your collarbones. Good. Exhale and relax. And again, inhale, reach. Exhale and relax. And inhale and reach. And exhale and relax. Bring your hands right to your core muscles now. Now this is important. So conscious contact with your core, the same way you thought about your feet at the beginning, I want you to think about your core muscles now, okay? And I want you to imagine you've got this big powerhouse of strength that's inside you right there, right? Feel how your stomach muscles wrap around, all right, and connect with your vertebrae. Feel how they connect your ribs and your hips together. So go ahead, place your thumb, this one's from Dr. Eric Goodman, place your thumb on your lowest rib and place your pinky on your hip bone. Good. Now everything in between your ribs and your hips, those are your abdominal muscles, right? So I want you to really feel and get conscious awareness of how your ribs and your hips are connected. Top half of the body connected to lower half of the body with these muscles. Okay. I want you to feel how they connect you, not only top half to bottom half, but side to side and diagonally as well. Okay? All right, and now I want you to take 3 fingers from each hand. And I want you to start to press into your stomach muscles like piano key fingers, just like piano keys. Okay? So press in. So press in like pressing the keys of a piano. Just like that, little tickling fingers, okay? But pushing in. You're actually not tickling yourself, but you're pressing in. Good? And I want you to tighten your stomach muscles up. I want you to imagine that this little bit of pressure is activating your stomach muscles. It's firing them up, firing up the stomach muscles. Imagine that your stomach muscles can push back against that little bit of pressure. Activate, activate, activate. Good. Keep that connection going. Very good. Okay. And then slowly release your hands. Now I want you to think about your hip bones here in the front. So a lot of times from what I've heard is that people have trouble engaging the lower part of the, in other words, the part of the abs that's below the belly button. So I have a really good visualization exercise for that. Think about your hip bones here in the front. And then I want you to imagine a string pulling your hip bones closer together. Imagine the string. So first it's just going to be a picture in your mind at first. But maybe after a few weeks, maybe after a few months, you'll start to feel that connection with the lower abdominals, So if any of you have some ab exercises for the lower abs that you're doing with a physical therapist or with a trainer, use that visualization. Think hip bones in the front, string pulling them closer together, and it will help you start to engage your lower abdominals. Okay, let me check in with you guys right now. Let me see. Questions, comments, insights. Okay, great. Okay. So let's do just a few more. Let's see. Somebody might be typing in right now because we're coming up on just about an hour. Okay, so let's do a weight shift out to the side with displacing and coming back in. Now you can do this with a marching movement, or you can keep that standing, you can keep the standing leg still. Now something amazing is happening as you do this exercise. Okay? What's happening is that the foot is pushing you off and bringing you right back to home base. Do you feel that? So if we do this with a marching motion, out and in, and out and in, okay? You can do this holding on. You can do this holding on to the back of the chair, the side of the chair, or with your rollator. Okay. But something remarkable, and I want you to feel the interaction of your foot with the floor to make this happen. The foot's doing two things. It's catching you and then it's pushing you right back to home base. So the foot is going catch, push, right? Catch, push. Really important. Good, and let's rest and let's do that on the other side. Let's march, starting with the left foot. Give yourself a little march first. And now get that side to side, out and in. Good, out and in. Remarkably, in order to do this, you're accelerating in one direction. You're stopping on a dime and then you're re-accelerating in the other direction, right? So all this acceleration, deceleration, re-acceleration, it's happening faster than I can say it, okay? How's your foot making it happen? Feel that interaction of the foot with the floor. Feel the interaction of the foot with the floor. Good, keep that awareness there. Couple more. Good job, march it out. Okay, take a nice deep breath and exhale out. And we can do that same movement forward and back. Do that same movement forward and back. So take that right foot forward and push off and come back. Forward and push off and come back. So you're working that foot, pushing it through the floor, pushing it through the floor. You can do this with a march if you want. Yeah. Good. And let's work the other side. Here we go. March from the left, forward and back on the left. Here we go. Up and back. Good. Up and back. Keep that breathing steady. Working on those pushing muscles. That's really what you're working on. The ability to push off the floor and keep it going. Nice work. March it out. Okay. Okay. I always end every class with dexterity exercises. So we wiggled our wiggled our toes at the beginning of class. We're gonna do some dexterity now. So here we go. Just take it, bring your hands together for a second, and then pull elbows up if you can, and let the thumb and forefinger come together. And then each fingertip gets a turn touching the thumb, and then back again. Good. Each fingertip touches the thumb, and then back again. Good. And you're going to turn palm up, and you're going to do the same thing. Turn palm up. Good. And then you're just going to roll the fingers, starting with your pinky. Roll in, then close, and then back out again. Strengthen your hands. And you're allowing, especially if you're holding on with a walker or a cane, hand exercises are really important because your hands are part of what's supporting you, okay? So you wanna make sure that you can just allow the hands to open and close. Again, so it's each fingertip touches the thumb, then you're rolling in and rolling out. So allowing each finger to stay as straight as it can, letting the next finger pull on it only when it has to, so the next finger folds in only when it has to. And then you're opening and closing through the hands. And then we're gonna do something that we're gonna do some nice weighty motions with the hands. Like making a nice relaxed weighty motion. And this just releases all of the tension from the hands. Okay. Great. Okay, I'm gonna stand back up. And then if you're in a standing position or if you're in a seating position, it doesn't matter. Let your palms face the floor. If you're standing, let your knees bend a little bit. And now let's take an inhale, straighten the knees a little bit, and then exhale, see if you can bend into your knees. Good, and inhale, so those feet are parallel with each other, and they're about shoulder width apart, maybe hip width apart, and just inhale and exhale. And then inhale and exhale. Good, one more time. In and out. Good work. All right, everybody, place your feet nice and wide apart. Let's raise our arms up as much as you can, even if it's only out the halfway. Good. Lift your chin, reach out in all directions. Take a nice deep breath. And exhale it out. And thank you so much, everybody. I'm so glad to be here with you. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. I do have a handout that will be coming to you soon. So please give feedback to June and her counterparts there, and I will see you in 2 weeks. All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.